From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 17th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.68 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,265 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $423. Antiwar.com reports officials with the Syrian Kurdish forces say they intend to declare a democratic federal system immediately in the territory they control across northern Syria, formalizing their de facto autonomy over a broad swath of the Syrian side of the border with Turkey. The official announcement is scheduled for Thursday. The PYD, the primary political force in the region and political wing of the YPG, the Kurdish militia in the region, says the decision was taken after consultation with regional minorities and to say autonomy is the best way to protect Syria's territorial integrity in the future. That likely won't sit well with the major rebel factions in the ongoing Syrian civil war, which have angrily rejected the notion of federalism in recent comments, envisioning a powerful, heavily centralized state with themselves at the helm after the war. Turkey, which attacks YPG forces intermittently, is also furious at the announcement, with their foreign ministry insisting they would never recognize Kurdish autonomy in the region. And even though the plan appears modeled on what the U.S. imposed in Iraqi Kurdistan during the 2003 occupation, the Obama administration has also expressed opposition, saying they oppose any autonomy for Syria's Kurds. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports the U.S. Federal Reserve decided Wednesday to hold key interest rates steady, citing a volatile domestic stock market and an uncertain global economic climate, but said further hikes are expected before 2016 is over. The Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave the American Central Bank's benchmark interest rate in a range between 1/4 and 0.5% at the conclusion of its two-day March meeting on Wednesday. An updated outlook for 2016 includes 2 small interest rate hikes, down from a forecast of 4 at the Fed's December meeting when the central bank raised rates for the first time in 9 years. A committee report a month later did not include an economic assessment, but Wednesday's did, and said the domestic climate is growing at a moderate pace. Inflation, a key economic gauge and factor in the Federal Reserve's interest rate evaluation, remains below where analysts thought it would be. Yellen said the central bank expects inflation to return to the 2% threshold, along with further economic growth and labor strides within the next 2 to 3 years. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the Uber driver in Michigan charged with murdering 6 people last month in a shooting spree has filed a $10 million federal civil rights lawsuit against the ride-sharing company, saying that it is Uber's fault he is in prison. Jason Dalton, 45, filed the 2-page handwritten lawsuit against Uber in U.S. District Court on Tuesday, saying the company has ruined his life and never invited him to any corporate parties. Dalton wrote, "Uber does not care about its drivers. We are peasants and pawn pieces to Uber's bottom line," adding that the company discriminated against him because of his mental health, saying, "I'm currently in prison because of Uber." Dalton wrote that he is seeking a jury trial and would represent himself in court. Uber responded with a statement saying it's hard to know how to respond to someone who refuses to take responsibility for his own actions. Dalton told police that when he would press a button on his phone screen, the horned cow head of the devil would appear and give him an assignment that he said would literally take over his body. He faces 16 charges, including 6 of murder, that can bring life in prison. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.